Connecting. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Youth Talks Gyan Manthan episode 4. And today we've got a stunner of a session because with us is somebody who is a master of the topic that he's going to be presenting today and training all of us on today. His name, of course, is known to everyone who's watching us right now. It is Dr. Nilesh Sancheti who is going to be with us. For me to getting used to calling him Dr. Nilesh Sancheti took a while because I know him as Nilesh, the guy, the man who's been enthralling audiences over the last many years that I have known him. Dr. Sancheti is a management graduate with over 17 years of corporate experience in training, sales, business development, channel management, and financial services. He's worked with magnificent companies like Tetra Pak, ICICI Prudential, and India Properties. His passion for training continues through his initiative called Matrix Training Solution, which caters to corporate houses, institutions, and academics. And of course, he's also an industrialist, managing his own family business of textile and warehousing, and is a director with Global Bull Financial Services. Dr. Sancheti, as a business coach, soft skills trainer, and a motivator, has been an expert of topics such as, of course, public speaking, leadership skills, interview skills, communication skills, and the list goes on and on and on. And if I actually were to introduce the achievements of this magnificent coach that we have with us, it'll be a couple of hours before I'm done. Some of the companies that he has offered his services and ensured that people on the other side develop themselves to be better, human beings, better individuals. Some of those companies have been Macmillan, Indian Oil, Tetra Pak, Reliance, Indianica, Coca-Cola, Pale Agro, MTS, the DRDO, Defense Laboratory, Rajasthan Police, National Institute of Fashion Technology, ICFAI, so many of them. And he's impacted more than 15,000 participants to date. He was awarded the doctoral degree for his work in behavioral finance and did his financial planning course from LUTCF, that's from the American University. On his journey to become a management graduate, he received Director's Award and Silver Medal for securing the second rank. In his quest to consistently upgrade his training knowledge, he has been certified on many platforms from great companies in the business of training, management consulting like Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey, Landmark Foundation, Mercury International, and JCI India. He's been a past zone officer, that means officer of a specific region of a state for the Junior Chamber International India, which is the largest youth development organization across the world. Currently, he serves in a capacity as a treasurer for Marudhara Industries Association, Jodhpur. Uh, he's a he loves food. I can't call him just a foodie, but then he loves eating. Uh, but to neutralize his love for eating, he went into developing the other side of his life now, and that is being a marathoner. And that has been last many years that we have seen him, scorching the roads with his blistering face and moving ahead. He did two full marathons by now. He's done seven half marathons, cycle for 210 kilometers across the Thar Aravallis, and that's a magnificent achievement for any individual even to read. In his free time, he loves reading books on self-development. Some of his favorite speakers are Simon Sinek, Jim Rohn, Daniel Kahneman, James Clear, and Tony Robbins. Married to Surbi, this management graduate, a terrific coach, manages several other, areas of life as well. A lot of social work happening around what he does. He's got a daughter, Rishika, and son, Ribhav. And he says, my favorite quote is that the harder you work, easier life becomes. The easier you work, harder life becomes. A great coach that we have with us this morning, who's going to be taking us on a journey of exploring your own voice, exploring the giant within you. How do successful people also dabble jointly in the other part, and that's called being a great speaker. So if you are an aspiring speaker, if you already have been addressing audiences, or if you are already somebody who's been enthralling and regaling audiences worldwide, there's a lot for each of you to take this morning. Dr. Nilesh Sancheti is going to be unlocking the 5 levers that are required for becoming a power speaker. So, presenting to you, ladies and gentlemen, Gyan Manthan episode 4 with Dr. Nilesh Sancheti. This episode, like every other episode of Gyan Manthan, has been supported by Mr. Dasari Murali Krishna of the Vikash Group of Institutions in Odisha, which has got 12,000 and counting students with them right now. A lot of them are watching us live as of this moment. He also is a great person doing a great bit of social service, employs more than 3,000 people in his institution, runs an hospital, which is a super specialty hospital in Odisha, in the western parts of Odisha. And also during the COVID chaos, he's put up a facility which is a 200-bedded facility for catering to coronavirus patients. So we also have with us Dr. Sangeeta Menon. Sam's alive again as a terrific, you know, uh, initiative, which is going to be with us for the whole year. And they are a great bit of supporter for everything we do with youth talks because they believe developing youth and their potential is a part of their social responsibility. So, without much ado, I'd like to bring forward and bring to you the speaker of this morning, somebody who's going to be taking us on a journey of how to become a power speaker. Over to you, Dr. Sancheti.
All right, thank you so much. And my seniors have often told me that never tip the waiter before the meal arrives, but then you've done exactly the same by so much of showering good words. And let's start off with our business now. So, how many of you want to create a successful business, professional, and a social life? How many of you want to persuade and influence people? How many of you want to go up the stage and yes,
No,
can
no,
you
I said
listen?
I was replying to your question. I want to do everything that you're asking me to do.
Great. So that's great. And how many of you want to create a life of your choice? How many of you want to create charisma around you? How many of you want to crack interviews smoothly? How many of you would love to, increase your brand value? And if answer to any of these is yes, I'm glad all of you are right here. And the power speaker is answer to all of them and will definitely enhance and amplify your productivity in every walk of life. And therefore, let me start off with the good news that thankfully only babies are born, speakers are not. Rather, what I'm trying to talk about is if you want to excel when it comes to speaking, communication skills, if you want to learn power speaking, the good news is it's a learnable skill. There is nothing called born speakers. Yeah, ye to seekh ke hi aaya hai, right? Yeah, this is inbuilt into him. I mean, I think when it comes to speaking is something like if you want to create a fitter body, right? You take some steps. There are some techniques. There are some methodologies. So maybe you have a fitness regime. Maybe you eat healthy. Maybe you rest well. Maybe you lead a stress-free life. Similarly, there are very dedicated nuts and bolts, these kind of factors which we will share today, which we will unlock with you, which if you follow, I guarantee you that you are going to create a miraculous speaker out of you, a miraculous personality out of you, a very, very glorifying, career is waiting for you. And you will surely excel in many other fields. Like if somebody is into business, negotiation skills, if somebody is into, doing a management course, maybe presentation skills, if somebody is doing nothing, but then he wants to make his decision making process more clearly. I mean, have that with more clarity. There again, if you are a power speaker, it will help you in a great way. So coming to the point straight away is that what are these levers? How can I shift myself from point A to point B if I want to become a power speaker? When it comes to speakers, what I know is, and what I've seen around is there are basically two types of speakers, all right? One is the nervous speaker, and second is the liar, all right? And it's absolutely fine to be nervous. It's absolutely fine to at times have that anxiety. And as Himadri sir and we were talking, discussing, at times when you have that kind of anxiety, it inspires you to perform better. So in words of Guru Dronacharya, if I say, Atmavishwas, if you have little anxiety, it should आपके वो आपके आत्मविश्वास को रौंदना नहीं चाहिए, rather वो आपके आत्मविश्वास को और नई ऊंचाइयों पे लेके जाना चाहिए, so that you put more efforts in preparation and you move away from arrogance and you move closer to confidence. So therefore, a little bit of nervousness is good. But then, what are the initial signs which from where this nervousness crops up and then you get into that downward spiral? Let's address that. And the first one in that direction is the breath power that I want to introduce to you. See, normally what happens is, when you see a lot of people around you, they're listening to you, they are judging you, they are watching you, and you have to present something. What happens is, you start to breathe only up till your chest. And when you do chest breathing, what happens is your body starts to contract. Oxygen is not flowing across your body. And therefore, somewhere you lose out the concentration, you lose out the eye contact, you lose out the link of that particular subject, and then that downward spiral starts to happen. The first thing that we need to arrest is this downward spiral of your breath. And the best way that you can do this is, just do deep breathing. So rather than doing just this chest breathing, what you need to do is you need to ensure that your breath reaches right up to the navel. And you know what? Something interesting that you guys can do is that when you're breathing, and say there are some 10-15 minutes before, maybe you can check out a washroom, and with breathing, you can also expand your body as well. So maybe something like this. And when you do this, magic happens, right? What happens is your breath reaches right up to the navel, your oxygen levels go up, and then you can focus better. You can do justice better to the particular topic that you're talking about. One additional thing that I would suggest, which I really love, and as a master of stress management, Himadri sir would second that particular thought, is that there's something called parasympathetic nervous system. And what you can do is you can do a parasympathetic breathing system. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's as powerful as that if you just give 10 minutes, 5 minutes, it's equal to maybe 2.5 to 3 hours of your sleep. You can be anxious for any damn thing. It could be, the girl that you can die for. It could be the job that you can die for. I don't support that kind of thinking. Okay, everything should be part of life. Nothing should become your life. But then, even if something like that is going on, if you are negotiating a big deal, you're going in for presentation skills, public speaking, going to your boss, going to a very tough headmaster, a principal, or maybe a professor. Any walk of life, if you can practice this parasympathetic breathing, you get magical results. And you have to do just simple things repeatedly, which is, I'm sure you know 4, I'm sure you can count 7, I'm sure you can count 8. So what you have to do is, at the count of 4, you breathe in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you breathe in. And that count could be yours. But then that difference between 1 and 2, 3 and 4 has to be constant. And that could be your own, time cycle that you decide for yourself. So with 4, you breathe in. And with 7, you hold your breath inside. Now, what happens is when you hold your breath for 7, your breath reaches across the body. And then when you are releasing your breath, you release it at the count of 8. So towards the start, when you took in the breath, it was at the count of 4. When you're releasing, it's at the count of 8. And you're not releasing unless you hold it for 7 count. Now, when you do this, and if you do this 7 times, that completes 1 cycle. And champions, folks, transformers, life-changing, people who want to change their life. What I want to talk about is, if you practice this parasympathetic breathing, I once again repeat, it's as good as getting a 3-hour sleep. And if you do that and then walk into public speaking, miraculous results you will get it. If you do this regularly and then go into negotiation skills, any stressed situation, oh God, you'll get magical results. Let me do this for you right away, and I'll be really happy if you can also do this. We'll do one round, and you'll be really happy to see the changes that you have. You got to reflect inside and then see what kind of change you get. All right. So let's start off straight away, and by the show of hands, I'll count for myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can have your own independent count going on for yourself. All right. Let's start off, folks, guys, champion, change makers, everybody. Okay. So let's start. And hold now. And this is 1 times. And if you do this for 7 times, that completes 1 cycle. It cools you down, it calms you down. And to be honest, I mean, same anxiety I was also feeling. And I'm so happy now. I'm so relaxed now. I'm so, I'm so stress-free now. All right. So when we talked about breath, breath power, we're talking about 2 things. One is you got to take in deep breaths. And when you take in deep breaths, your sound quality also gets better. Your concentration also gets better. Oxygen level within the body also gets better. You can focus on your audience in a much better manner. So that was my breath power, the point number 1 that we were talking about. Let's move on to the second nuts and bolts, which is, any idea what the second one is? And the second one is body power. And if you heard about a very famous personality when it comes to communication skills, his research, and that personality is Professor Albert Meherbian. Professor Meherbian did this research that how can you be effective in communication? And he brought out some wonderful research. He talked about that, yes, words are important. Yes, vocal variety is important. Yes, tonology is important. However, something more important than all of that, more important, I repeat, than all of that is your body language. And if I were to give numbers, because when we give numbers, people understand it easily, they can remember it more, more strongly, and then that gets quantified. What I'm trying to talk about is when it comes to body language, it contributes to 55% of your communication. When it comes to vocal variety, it's another 38%, and just 7% is words. So we are not undermining words. To make it 100%, you need proper choice of words, all right? However, the most important thing is body language, and that's looked upon. I still remember the first presentation that I did in front of the managing director, Henrik Hogarth of Tetra Pak, wherein I invested 7 days to prepare. My content was super solid. We were launching love packs. Finally, Dabur went ahead and launched that concept in the market as well. However, I was torn apart just because I couldn't transfer that passion in my body language. And therefore, that day I made a promise to myself that if I speak my mouth ever again, it will never be without the amplifying effect of body language. And who does not know Tony Robbins? Yes, Tony Robbins, I mean, advocates all across. He's been a business coach who's transformed millions of lives. He talks about that it's not your motion, it's not your emotions which rules your motions, but it's motion which rules your emotion. And therefore, I need to be super cautious about my body language. I got to amplify my talk. I got to fire my words through my body language. And what happens with speakers normally, what we have seen is as soon as they get onto the stage, they start playing around with their hands. Of course, this problem is not with Sholay of, with Thakur of Sholay, like in hum sabke saath ye problem hota hai. Where do I keep my hands? So somebody keeps it in the pocket, somebody will, sit in a cross hands manner, somebody will take it towards the back. But then any of these things, when you do, you are squeezing your body. See, whatever we are talking about, the first 4 powers, everywhere we are talking about to expand your body. So in the first power, we talked about to expand your breath power. In the second one, we are talking about to expand your body. And to start with body, of course, I'll come to the face in the third part as well. But then what you need to do is you need to keep your hands in front of your audience. They should see your hand. And one of the best method that you can do is the steeple hand method, which is something like this. And this goes amazing. You see any powerful leaders, they will normally sit like this. They will normally talk like this. They will normally stand like this in photographs. Go out in Google and then just hunt steeple hand method. That's what you will see and observe. And therefore, if you're confused as a first-time speaker, where should I keep my hands? My favorite is this posture, or maybe you can keep it something like this. But then I hate speakers who will keep their hands in the pocket, one hand in the pocket, keep playing around in the pocket with coins, with keys and stuff. And I mean, there are some 2,000, 5,000, 4,200 eyes watching you. They will notice every other thing that you are doing, and therefore you cannot do that. So that's playing around with your hands. And to begin with, when you get onto your natural speed, when you become a natural speaker, then you can start using your hands as well. And it's amazing when you use your hands. Only thing is, your hands should move in synergy with what you're talking about. So if I were to share about my friend Kaju, who, उसने बहुत बड़ा घर बनाया. So I cannot talk something like this. यार अपना दोस्त काजू, उसने बहुत बड़ा घर बनाया. So बड़ा has to be something like this. What I'm saying is, your hands have to move in synergy. And when you have breath power, you are better connected. And then your hands will move in sync with your words. And the second thing is, how do you show power? How do you show that you're confident? And by the way, I really hate this line that yaar to confident rehna. This concept of self-talk, I think it's बहुत ज़्यादा उसको हमने बड़ा कर दिया है. I mean, there's nothing called कि यार तो confident रहना. There's nothing called to confidence rakhna. You got to convert that confidence into tangible, actions which can be watched by people. So now, when I keep a steeple hand method, use this. When I stand with equal weight on both my feet, when I keep my neck on my shoulders, I don't have to tell myself कि भाई तू confidence रहना, या तू confident दिखना. ये कहना ठीक वैसा ही है जैसा if I have to grow a plant, मैं पत्तों को पानी दूंगा, जड़ों को नहीं. I will water roots if I want fruits. I will not water what? I will not water leaf. Can you understand that? So if I want to convert my confidence and take that to my audience, I have to do something with my body. And mind you, what Professor Albert Meherbian is saying is that it contributes to 55%. Therefore, you need to have a proper standing posture. Of course, you can walk around a little bit, but then, whatever hand movement or body movement you are doing, it should not be a hurdle to your speech or your thoughts. It should add to that particular thing. It should act as an amplifying effect. So don't do it too much as well. Don't do it too less as well, but then let it flow as per your own natural speed. Is that clear, everybody? So we've talked about two things. In any case, I'm sure we'll have some 10, 15 minutes time towards the end to take up some questions if you guys, or maybe guys and girls, if you have some questions around it. So first one was breath power. The second one is the body power, and the third one is the face power. Now, face is like a window to your personality. So when you're standing and talking to people, and if you're not happy, if you're not excited, maybe you don't smile, all right? I love if you can smile as well, but then at least keep a happy face. Now, what happens is, when you use this face power to be happy, again, we are hitting that same nail wherein we are expanding our muscles. So what happens is, typically your face has got 80 muscles. When you smile, when you are happy, you're using most of that muscles. You're stretching most of that muscles. And when you smile, when you're using those 80 muscles, you know what you're doing? You're breaking the clutter. You're removing the hurdle. You're removing the wall between you and your audience. You feel as though you're just one amongst them. And that monologue changes into a dialogue. Now, and therefore, what's important is, whenever you are talking, you got to be excited. You got to be happy. You got to smile. You stretch fully. And when you stretch, you also tend to open your eyes properly. When you open your eyes properly, you connect with audience properly. You got to establish an eye contact with audience. When you establish an eye contact, the best thing that you can do is you can also take their feedback. You can see how their body language is responding to your talk. And therefore, as I was saying earlier, that monologue becomes a dialogue. And again, you are working on your body, wherein you're expanding your body. You know, you know, having said these three powers and sharing these three powers with you, wherein I'm asking you, requesting you, inspiring you to take the simple steps, which is breath power, wherein we were breathing. We were not doing shallow breathing, but we were doing navel breathing or maybe diaphragm breathing or parasympathetic breathing. The second one we talked about was the body language, when you are expanding your body fully. And the third one is your face power. In all of these things, we're working on body. And why I'm harping so much on the body is that, I hope you remember, if a child cries, or when we used to cry, our parents used to come back to us, or maybe if there's some parents around, we go back to the child and say, "Ja tu pehle chup ho ja." Or maybe, "Rishika, Ribab, I mean, tum pehle chup ho jao, right? Ab chup ho jaoge, then I will listen to your talk." You know why we've asked them to, not to cry or stop crying? Is just because their body changes. And when their body changes, their state of mind changes. And when their state of mind changes, you are on the way to spread your charisma as a speaker. You are on the way to change people, to influence them to walk onto a different journey. And then you become a leader that you want to. Then you get high grades on your presentation skills. And then you crack your job like this. All right? So these are the first three parts. And the fourth one, which again contributes to which contributes to almost 35% is vocal variety. Now, this is little challenging. And in any case, if you feel that to bring that vocal variety is challenging, my answer to this is very simple. If you can put a regimented effort, if there's a disciplined effort, I mean, there's nothing which is challenging. So just a small metaphor that I would like to share is, what is more powerful, a rock or a water? So if I throw a glass of water on you, you won't get hit, right? But then if I throw a rock, a stone on your head, you'll of course bang yourself. Of course, you'll get hurt. Yes. But then what happens is, when water is flowing right over the rocks, even those crooked rocks become smooth rocks. Why? Because water is persistent in its efforts, in its actions, and it is disciplined. And therefore, it's not about whether the rock is strong or the water is strong. It's about who is more persistent. So as a speaker, if you want to build vocal variety, if there is hunger in your belly, if the size of the dog, so if not, it's not about size of the dog, but it's about the fight that is going inside the dog, which will define who will win end of the day. I'm sure you will some simple nuts variety. So when it comes to vocal variety, guys and girls, there's something very simple that you can do. Normally, what we have observed, what I have observed out of whatever experience I've got, is that people are very shy in using their mouth. अरे भाई, if this is the instrument जिसको बजाना है, उसी को हम कंजूसी से काम लेंगे, तो वो बजेगा कैसे? How will the clarity come in? I have seen people feel that yaar ब्याज देना पड़ेगा. I have to pay interest if I open my mouth more. I've seen people do not open their mouth itself. Now, therefore, what I'm saying is to simply talk about, you got to use your mouth more. What I'm saying is, let's do a jaw drilling exercise. उससे आपको समझ आएगा मैं क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. In jaw drilling exercise, what we do is, 4 अंगुली लीजिए आप अपनी, okay, and put them vertically the way I'm doing it, reverse them, apna muh pura kholo. Please ensure if people are sitting around you, you have done your morning brush. I've done that. In any case, and then you open your mouth, पूरा मुंह खोलो और ये चारों अंगुली हमारे मुंह में प्रवेश करनी चाहिए, जाना चाहिए. Okay, let's do this practice. Come on, everybody. In any case, you don't have to worry. Nobody is watching you, and अगर कोई देख भी रहा है ना, as a public speaker, you don't. I mean, you cannot put a lot of weight onto that. Okay, of course we take it as a feedback, but then ज़्यादा उस पे ध्यान नहीं देना. So चार अंगुली लीजिए, मुंह खोलो and do this. Come on, do it again. We're not doing. Do it, everybody. Do it with me. Very good. Do it again. And this jaw drilling exercise is my favorite. There's a variation to this. Then what you do is, anguli ko sulado, make it horizontal, and then do it again. So do it again. So what I normally do is that if you want to improve your vocal variety, you got to do this. You got to do this exercise. If you do it regularly, it will help you to improve your vocal variety. Now, people say कि confidently बोलना. There is nothing called confidently बोलना. यार तुम क्लैरिटी से बोल लो, अपने आप कॉन्फिडेंस झलक जाएगा. हमको कभी ये याद रखना भी नहीं पड़ेगा यार that I have to speak with confidence. So what I'm saying is that we have to use our mouth fully. So I've seen people look 1, 2, 3. Why? Cook that word na, bolo na 1, and then jab bol rahe ho, there has to be vibration inside. You have to throw the word. All right. So say 1, 2. So jab do bolte hain na, मुंह से हवा निकलनी चाहिए. Put your fingers. 2, 3. 3 में हाथ नीचे कर लेना क्योंकि हवा आएगी नहीं. Okay. So I repeat again. 1, 2, 3. So stretch your muscles, stretch your mouth, and चलो ये सब तो हो ही जाएगा. साथ में कुछ कैलोरीज भी बर्न कर दोगे आप, right? You can eat some more samosas and vada pavs of the world. With this, there are some more exercises to warm up your mouth. So scooter चलाते थे ना बचपन में, तो गाड़ी चला लो अभी, all right? Do this. Don't smile at me. You do it yourself. Come on. Very nice. And then you can do something like this. Ba, 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 ba. And there's something called pitch. So pitch ko banane ke liye do it something like this. I mean, you might sound funny, but how does that matter, guys and girls? You got to decide what's working for you. Okay, there are many such mouth warm-up exercise. So coming to this entire point on how to build vocal variety is that you got to use your mouth fully. When you are talking, when you're speaking, you need to ensure that you complete the sound of one word and then you move on to the next word. And in between, if you want to take pause, you can take a pause as well. And by the way, at times, pauses are really, really strong. Temporarily ऐसा लग सकता है कि जब मैं तेज बोलता हूं, मैं बहुत influential बोलता हूं, लेकिन जब मैं धीरे बोलता हूं, I'm equally influential. Why? Because when I'm speaking fast, my voice is banging on to you. और आप आराम से बैठ के सुन रहे हो, भाई वो अपना काम कर रहा है, मैं मेरा काम करूं, मस्त रहूं, right? But then, when you're speaking slowly, you will lean forward. When I'm pausing in between, you will be bound or inspired to reflect on what I'm saying, and therefore there could be more involvement. Should you take this approach? Should you take that approach? I don't know. Then who knows? You got to find out for yourself. Why? Because you got to identify the natural speaker out of you. What I'm saying is, na to tez bolna acha hai, na dheere bolna acha hai, variety hona chahiye. Then you decide ki where do I get more comfort into the audience feedback, improvising. We talk pauses. How to when you're every time when you're
Dr. Sancheti, I guess there is a lag in the internet connection. We are unable to get your connection. We are unable to get your video clearly. There seemed to be some lag. Maybe you might have to repeat the last bit a little more. Your voice was cracking, and so we'll be joined, by Dr. Sancheti once again. I trust there was some technical issue somewhere. Okay.
Is that better now?
This is much better.
Okay.
So the
last
about 2 minutes is what was cracking.
So do you want me to repeat the last 2 minutes that I talked about? Or?
Yeah, if you can, just about the last 2 minutes.
Okay, so just to summarize what I was talking about is that to build in vocal clarity, what's important is that you need to warm up your mouth. Okay, you need to complete the sound of every word. You need to use the power of pauses, and of course, in between, to get that tonality, you got to use the power of high pitch and low pitch. And when you put that as one package, you can build in vocal clarity. However, a little word of caution that I think you really need to practice this. And when you practice, as I shared the metaphor of a rock and a water, anything and everything is possible. Having said that, I move on to the last power, which is the fifth power, which is the content power. Before I walk into the content power, I would quickly go through the first four powers. The first one was breath power, second one body power, third one was face power, and fourth was voice power, vocal power, whatever you want to call it as. The fifth one is the content. See, normally what I've seen is people shy away from public speaking because they feel, यार मैं शुरू कैसे करूँगा? यार मैं खत्म कैसे करूँगा? यार, what do I need to pack it in between? So if you ask me, if you can start your topic in the right manner and end in the right manner, in between is just about putting some statistics, putting about your thoughts, putting about some data, putting about some actions that you want people to take, and things will be in line. So I would like to share a very simple formula, which is my favorite, which I love, and from the entire talk that I'm sharing today. If you want to take home one thing which is most critical, I would say this is this STAR formula. Now, what we have seen normally speakers doing it is that good morning everybody. My name is Nilesh Sancheti, and I will be delivering my talk on effective public speaking, and I will make you power speakers. And the balance 1 hour is gonna be chunk, because ये सब तो हमको हिमाद्री जी ने बता दिया था. We've been knowing this. ये सब सुन के ही तो यहाँ पे आए. And thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for crushing my first 2 minutes. And okay, goodbye. We don't want to be a part of this anymore. Therefore, what I'm saying is, never start in this rudimentary way. Whenever you start your talk next, I think there has to be an instant hook. There has to be an instant catch, which attracts the public, which glues onto you. And therefore, the first 2 minutes, the first 5 minutes, depending on the length of your talk, is absolutely crucial. And you should do a lot of justice to that particular part. And the formula that I'm sharing with you, the STAR formula, will help you in a great way to crack this menace of start of any kind of speech, any kind of presentation, be it even if you have to introduce yourself. I think everywhere you can use the STAR formula. All right, so STAR formula. Let's try to understand what is S for. When it comes to STAR formula, S is something like a startling fact. Okay, so startling fact could be something like, in last 50 years, our country has seen the average temperature to rise by 2 degrees. The world has seen to rise the temperature by 2 degrees. My topic for today is global warming. Or maybe 6 out of 10 people sitting in this room, or 6 out of 10 people listening to this live webinar will hit their age of 60 for sure But then to hit that age of 60, you will encounter one critical illness. And therefore, my topic for today is healthy lifestyle. So what we are doing is we are throwing a startling fact, and then we are hooking onto the audience. अरे यार 6 में से 10 लोग तो ये तो मैं भी हो सकता हूँ, right? Yeah, maybe 2% बढ़ गया, right? I am getting impacted. Let me do something. Let me listen to this talk and then put things into action so that so that I can contribute to this entire menace of global warming. So what we can do is you can start your talk with any of these startling facts. So if you're presenting some financial numbers, if you have some topic on management, you can pick up something like this. If you plan to fail, you fail to plan, or this is this. So you can, and then you can add some startling facts to this. You can blend it, and then that becomes your S, which is a startling fact. That's point number one. Number two is, you and me, all of us, हम लोग बड़े कैसे हुए? We have been told a lot of stories. And जैसे हम कुछ stories सुनते हैं ना, I mean दादी माँ से, नानी माँ से, I mean you really get hooked onto it. So जैसे we talk about that, पता है 10 साल पहले की एक बात है. Or imagine, as soon as I start saying that, people want to listen to that particular story. However, when you are constructing that story, we will refine that little bit because we want to become a power speaker. Okay, so let me share a story, and then I'll share with you how exactly can you link it and the formula to design that. So, or in fact, I shared a story aapke saath bhi, which was about about my Gyan on body language when Henrik gave me. So that's one story which abhi hum usko link karenge isse. Another story that I could share is that it's almost 3 years back when I entered the textile business, and while we were getting into the textile printing business, I realized that we were really facing a lot of problems in growth. So first 6 months, 8 months, we were hardly growing. And therefore, after a lot of brainstorming, after putting a lot of impetus on quality, on delivery timings, but still we were not hitting the nail. And that day we decided that we got to do something different. And that's when we hired some management, students, and they advised us that I think the piece that we are missing is the digital marketing. And that's when we had digital marketing becoming a part of our entire strategy. And I'll be really happy that we are already 3x what we were 3 years back when we got into this new line of printing. Now, what we're talking about is, and now see the earlier story as well that I coined out, which was when Henrik was there. I went there to present about the love packs, and then I learned about the body language. And the remaining part of the story is I was about to lose that job. However, my boss, Mr. Sudhir Krishna, he came back and said, Nilesh, are you ready to fight back or you're giving up? You tell me. And I said, sir, I'm gonna fight back. You tell me. And Sudhir told me that I'll walk this path along with you, but then you got to do what I'm talking about. Sudhir and I, we worked together on my presentation skills. And 1 year down the line, we had a company meeting, an annual general meeting. And in that, I was given a chance to present. And then Henrik stood up, and then he applauded for me, and he asked the entire company to give me an applause, and I received the best employee of the year that year as well. Now, what I'm saying is, how did all this happen? All this happened because the power of body language, and therefore my topic is the importance of body language for a power speaker. Now, what we are doing is, if you see these stories, what we are doing is there is a setup. There is some setup, there is some background that we are giving. After that setup, there is a struggle. So be it sales not increasing, be it I being on the verge of throwing out of the job, and then after the setup, there is a struggle, and then there is a hero. So the hero could be Sudhir, could be myself, could be that digital marketing idea from that particular management student. And that hero comes, and then he brings a transformational result, so which is success. So 3 parts in a story. One is a setup, then is a struggle, and then is a success. If you have these three things, you can create your own stories. And for God's sake, please do not go and Google around for these kind of stories. You cannot build that conviction. Average audience size on this webinar, I've been told, is around 20 years. So people are 15 years, 17 years, 18, 25, 30, 40, and into 365 days. There are so many stories that you have crafted for yourself. Google yourself and then share your own stories. So S is startling fact, T is tell a story and then come to the point, and two simpler ones, which is A is ask a question. I hope you still remember how I started my webinar or this talk. How many of you want to create a life of your choices? How many of you want to influence and persuade people? And when you ask these kind of questions, people are trying to answer yes, 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 yes. Therefore, you can start by asking a question, and people feel that yes, there is a connection. ये मेरे लिए ही है. Nilesh bhai, hello. So you can really link this. You can really link this. So S is startling fact. T is tell a story. A is ask a question, and then you launch a topic. However, be careful when you ask a question, and if people say no, there is a problem. So जब आप क्वेश्चन बनाते हो, it should be such that answer is yes. How many of you are looking for financial freedom in this room? How many of you want to be financially free by the age you reach the age of 60? And the answer is yes. All right, it gives me great pleasure that I'm in the right room. Let me come to my topic about financial freedom. Okay, so S is startling fact, T is tell a story, A is ask a question, and last is R. And R is, let me give you an example that, yes, mind is never a problem, mindset is. So STAR, R is what? Recite a quote. So you can pick up a quote. So you can also pick up a quote like, if you plan to fail, you fail to plan, and then you can merge them as well. So you can have a quote and then merge it with a startling fact, and then that could be a blended approach as well. So S and T could be merged, T and A could be merged, and you can merge it anyways. So R is recite a quote. Okay, or it could be you cannot in the boiling water, you cannot see anything. So a disturbed mind will never be able to make proper decision making. So you can have any of these, or maybe my favorite quote: the harder you work, easier life gets, and the easier you work, harder life gets. Or maybe मेहनत इतनी खामोशी से करो कि सफलता शोर मचाए. My topic for today is how can you be disciplined towards success. Okay, so the STAR formula is my hot favorite, and we are now moving towards the end. And you can, if there's any questions, you can come on to that. But then before you get into the questions, let me again repeat that we talked about 5 powers, 5 levers, 5 nuts and bolts, how you can become a stardom public speaker, how you can influence and persuade people. And those 5 are: number 1 is breath power. Number 2 is body power. Number 3 is, are you saying or not? Otherwise, I'll keep repeating, all right? So say it with me, everybody. Come on. Number 1 is breath power. Beautiful. Number 2 is body power. Number 3 is, oh, sir, that was not for you. Number 3 is face power. Number 4 is voice power. And number 5 is the content power. And if you have these 5 powers, the stage is all there for you. I think that's about it from my side. And sir, if any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. That will be my pleasure.
Okay. Well,
thank you, Bhavisha Patel, for your comments.
All right. So first up, let me thank you for coming on board Youth Talks and sharing some amazing quick tips with our audience. A lot of them are, sitting on the fence, and they would want to either move on the other side or maybe give up. And I'm sure, having heard you, having understood those basics that can help them, these fence sitters are now going to be people who will start on the journey of speaking. And I have a few questions that came my way. आपसे ये पूछना था डॉक्टर संचेती कि कई बार नो हम ये सुनते आए कि डर तो लगता है, लेकिन वो डर को फेस करना पड़ेगा। लेकिन होता यह है कि डर भी लगता है, फेस करने की तैयारी भी होती है, ऑडियंस के सामने जाते ही बोलती बंद हो जाती है। तो उस डर में कई बार क्या होता है, इजाफा हो जाता है। दैट feeling that I will be ridiculed. And last time when I was there was somebody who was, not very happy with what I did. That adds to the fear. And some of these layers of fear, they don't let me go up on the stage and speak. So when that happens, I don't want to speak again. So how do I overcome the fear? That's a question that came my way just a while back.
Okay, there are a few things that I would like to talk about in this. First thing is, if you want to become a great speaker, Vinay bhai. So if you want to become a great speaker, something really important is we need to fine tune our own communication system. So I appreciate your question. However, certain words that you use, like layers of fear, I will be ridiculed. Okay, I think these words are damn too strong. I mean, they will damage me. All right. So therefore, the first thing that I will do if I'm at this place, I will change the definition. So rather than saying, and Acha, the reason I'm saying this is that it's not about you, sir. But then even if I go there as a speaker, and अगर कुछ मेरे साथ हो गया, first time मैं भी ऐसे ही शब्द यूज करता था। अरे यार आज तो मेरी हिंदी हो गई, अरे यार आज तो मैंने सबका समय वेस्ट कर दिया। हमारी हिंदी होती नहीं है, हिंदी इज अ लैंग्वेज, हिंदी ही हिंदी होती है। Similarly, there's nothing called layers of fear. There could be stack of books, there could be layers of papad, there could be layers of rotis, but there's nothing called layers called fear. And also, कभी कभी हम ये गलती कर देते हैं that you and I are very serious people on this earth. Who cares a shit about all of us? We are not so serious. अरे भाई तुम्हारी मजाक उड़ गई, उड़ जाने दो यार, मस्त रहो यार। तुमको तुम्हारी मजाक उड़ गई, at least you've got something, you've got a learning attitude. But then keep that attitude inside you. Go back next time, but before you walk up next time, see what क्या मैंने गलत किया है। यार जब when I was feeling depressed, when I was feeling rejected, dejected, मेरा state of mind कैसा था, मेरा breathing pattern कैसा था, मेरी गर्दन मेरे शोल्डर के अंदर थी, मेरी आंखें नीचे थी, मेरे हाथ क्रॉस थे, मैं जब सांस ले रहा था छाती छोड़ो गले तक ही रुक रही थी, मेरे को प्यास लग रही थी लेकिन मैं पानी पीने से हड़बड़ा रहा था। Now what I'm saying is, when you know कि जब मुझे डर लगता है ये मेरा state of mind है। So I'm addressing this question in two parts. One is your own self-talk, and the second is the actions. I need to go back and say कि दोस्त next time जब डर आएगा ना तो मेरी डर आने दो ना, मैं मेरी गर्दन को, ये तो कर सकते हैं ना आप और मैं मेरी गर्दन को मेरे कंधे के ऊपर रखूंगा, मैं मेरे ऑडियंस से नजर नहीं हटाऊंगा, मैं मेरे हाथों को आगे स्टीपल मेथड से रखूंगा, मैं मेरे दोनों पैरों पे इक्वल वजन रखूंगा, और चाहिए तो मैं 5 क्लू कार्ड भी अपने साथ रखूंगा, उसमें टेंशन कहां है। लेकिन मैं पीछे नहीं हटूंगा, लेकिन मैं डर से विजय पाऊंगा। एंड अगर प्रॉब्लम है तो हम एक एक करके करें, हम गोल पोस्ट को छोटा कर देना, टेंशन क्या है, वी हैव गॉट लॉट ऑफ टाइम यार। आई गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? यस और नो? Yes or no? So we will take these steps, these tangible steps which people can see, and intangible steps that I can see, and then you will definitely carve out as a great speaker.
All right, so that's quite insightful. That's quite an encouraging input from you, because ये बहुत बार हो जाता है. At times some goof ups happen. At times some errors keep cropping in, and then I start losing my confidence, and then people would not want to go up and speak again. There is an adage that started almost 100 years back, and that was in Dale Carnegie's book, and he said that fake it till you make it. and
Oh,
possibly at
absolutely.
times, you got to fake that confidence till the time it really becomes a part of your persona. So yes,
Absolutely.
abhi this is what people are saying, डर के आगे जीत है, and that is absolutely the truth. So you got to face that fear, take it head on. So Dr. Sancheti, there is a question that is put up by Megha Chaware. She says, does body language matter in day-to-day conversations, or only during our presentation as a speaker?
So I think in one word, my answer is yes. And let me just amplify that why yes to convince you. You know, so when this I was talking about this research by Dr. Meher Bian. So उन्होंने research कैसे किया? There was a question, and उसका answer was yes sir. The answer was yes sir. So now, if you ask maybe an employee of yours, or maybe if your boss asks of you, or your professor or teacher asks that, can you please help me in this particular assignment? And one is you saying yes sir. One is you saying yes sir. Oh yes sir. So don't you see a difference in what I'm communicating? Therefore, what I'm saying is, even if you are in an interview, sitting in an interview, you are taking an interview, you are instructing, or maybe you are delegating a task, maybe you're talking with friends, everywhere body language works. And let's go back to our natural situation. So when you are talking with friends, आप कैसे करते हो? Oh यार मजा आ गया यार, oh यार तुझसे कितने दिन बाद आया यार, तू मिलता ही नहीं है. Or maybe when India wins a match, how do you show your jubilant? I mean, you show it by yes, I got it, मजा आ गया. And आप बोलो yes मजा आ गया, यार वो emotion ही नहीं निकलेगा यार. So what I'm saying is, everywhere body language plays a role. If you're appreciating your mom, I mean, how do you say, mama आज खाने में मजा आ गया यार, दिल को ठंडक पहुंच गई यार, I mean, I'm feeling so great. And उसमें खाली शब्द लेके आ जाओ, it'll be like a body without breath. Therefore, body language is important everywhere.
Awesome. So, yes, body language would matter in each and every conversation of yours. Now, Trisha Hathi would want to know that, of course, this is more from a communication perspective. However, speaking becomes a major part of that. What would be the protocols that I need to, re-engage in when I'm addressing people who are senior to me? Because many times they might not take it too kindly, that over enthusiasm. Uh, so how to manage the audience who are that's one is one-on-one. Second, an audience you're addressing, and possibly it's one-to-many kind of a conversation, and you got people who are senior, not in just terms of the designation, but maybe in terms of age as well. So there were two parts to this question. One, a one-on-one conversation with somebody senior in my designation at my workplace. Second, an audience that I need to address who are also senior to me. How would you advise Trisha Hathi on that?
Okay, Trisha, this is a lovely question and a deep question. And I'm for sure if somebody is asking this kind of question, he or she is looking at change. And I'm really happy for that. So thank you, Megha. So Trisha, if you're dealing with, or if you're talking with or discussing with a senior person over a one-to-one communication, I think what's important is there's something called mirroring technique in body language, wherein what you need to do is you need to mirror the other person's body language. However, a technique is not a technique if you show that you're using a technique. Okay, so the technique has to come naturally. So what I'm trying to talk about is that, say if your senior person is sitting straight, having proper eye contact, talking with hands still, you need to mirror that similar body language and then talk. When you mirror, people can relate well. आपने देखा होगा बहुत बार, if you're sitting together in a group, many a times आप देखेंगे सबका एक जैसा ही body language हो जाता है, because and why that same body language हो जाता है, because everybody is subconsciously continuously mirroring wherein they are gelling. Now इसका reverse भी true है. Even if sometimes people are not gelling, but you are mirroring, there are chances of that gelling will increase. Therefore, the first thing is you should try mirroring, number one. Number two, when the other person is discussing or talking with you, You got to see his tonality, you got to see his speed, and somewhere you need to adjust yourself also according to that. Now what happens is that normally what we have seen through experience, through research, the senior the person, the slower he will speak, and the slower he speaks, we feel he's got more conviction on his proposal, on his advice, on his steps that he's suggesting us to take. Therefore what happens is, when we are also reducing the speed, one, it helps to gel that mirroring thing, and number second, he thinks that he can trust us more. We have got more belief in what we are talking. Therefore I will talk, to summarize my answer, one is mirroring, and second is that you need to ensure that we are we are matching the speed and we are lowering our speed. So these are two things, a little more pauses as well in between. When it comes to audience, when a senior most people, I think the same rules will apply. You got to go a little slow, little more pauses. Why? Because when a senior audience is sitting, automatically you know that they'll be reflecting on your talk. So you've got to give them little more space so that they can reflect, they can imbibe, and then take it further.
All right. So we have just about a minute before we close, and if you can help us with the last question, one more question, which will be the last one. How do you improve body language, and how would you want us to improve the usage of words? And this is again from Mega. Mega says, what are the skills and ways and tips and hacks that I can work on for improving the body language?
Okay, so Mega, I'll take the second one first because that's quick and easy. If you want to improve your usage of words, very simple. Take a disciplined approach. 5 words in a day. Okay, 5 words in a day. New words I will listen, I will hear, I will practice them, I will know their meanings, and I will use them in my life. And mind you, these 5 words, I'm a great, I always support positive thinking. So all of these 5 words should be positive words. Pick up more and more positive words, practice them, and then day in day out, every day you got to use those words. 365 days if you do it, chalo 65 days nahi bhi kiya, 300 days if you do this, you in a year, in a matter of year, you've got a stock of 1500 words. Your English will also improve, your diction will improve. I mean, it's a complete comprehensive solution for what you're talking about. So that's number one. And the number second is, how do you improve your body language? I think if you need to improve any damn thing, because body language is a big subject, I think we need to take it step by step. So from where does your body start? So that, I mean, if I were to say, it starts right from eyes. So you can pick that next time, whenever I open my mouth, I will open my mouth when I establish an eye contact. So eye to face, never have an eye to eye contact. So jab mera eye to face contact hoga, usi samay main bolungi. If somebody is speaking, jab bhi main eye contact rakhunga ya rakhungi. What will happen is, when you practice this day in, day out, this becomes a natural character of yours. Similarly, you'll keep a happy face always. Similarly, you'll use your mouth more. Similarly, when you're walking, you'll walk faster. Oh, this is magical. So whatever your walking speed is, you increase your walking speed by 10 or 20%. I mean, you get confidence free of cost. All right. So these you can break them into pieces, take one by one, have a habit of journaling, see the positive effects that you're getting, and keep improvising on that particular thing, and you will be your own teacher then.
Great. So that was about time that we had. There was one more question: how to reduce pressure, but the paucity of time doesn't allow us to take that question. I would just recommend Ronak, who's put up that question, to please go back to the first lever that Dr. Sancheti mentioned. Breathe, and once you end up breathing the right way, a lot of pressures will go away. Of course, there would be many other techniques, and there would be many other ways in which we can do that. We'll come back to you. I mean, when I say you, the audience, with a structure.
Okay, just one second before, sir, just one line before we end. I would just like to share with the audience that Himadri sir's wife, Mrs. Sarita Sinha, she has been my guru. I've learned public speaking from her, and I would like to show my gratitude to her. And I would also like to show my gratitude to my mentor, Himadri ji. I mean, he's a very humble and a gracious personality. He never shares that himself. He's only busy, throwing the limelight on all other speakers. But I think he's a great speaker. And sir and ma'am, it was truly a great pleasure for me to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nilesh. This is what friends makes champions what they are, and this is a quality that champions always imbibe in them and imbibe in a lot of other people around. Thanks a lot, Nilesh. Folks, you might want to follow him if you're into fitness. You might want to follow him if you're into finance. You might want to follow him if you're into textiles, and you might want to follow him if you're into building an enterprise. And thank you so much. नीलेश फॉर बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ यूथ टॉक्स सॉरी डॉक्टर संचेती बार बार नीलेश निकल जाता है वो और छोटा छोटा भाई भी है मेरा सो यस thanks a lot for being a part of our show this morning. We have so many questions that are going to be coming in, and this is what I was sharing with the audience. If you want more of Dr. Sancheti, if you want to have him mentor you as a speaker, if you want him to handhold you on your journey of becoming a great speaker, well, do write in, and possibly we might have Dr. Sancheti mentor you in a very small group online coaching. Of course, I'm saying this without asking him, but he's been a very humble guy. Whatever would be the fees involved, it's all going to go towards creating more fit people like Dr. Sancheti around. So thank you so much, folks. Thanks a lot, Dr. Sancheti. And look forward to one more engaging session tomorrow morning. What Dr. Sancheti mentioned right now, the first lever of being a great speaker is relaxing, breathing easy. Tomorrow, we have got a speaker who would be able to help you a little further in that journey of being more relaxed, being a bit more stress-free. And that is Sandeep Nath from Delhi, who is a stress management and relaxation expert. He would be addressing concerns on how to manage stress. So until tomorrow, it's bye-bye from me at Youth Talks, and with a great sense of gratitude. Thank you so much, Dr. Sancheti, for being with us. Have a great day, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.